They didn't ask. He just sat there. When Angela Johnson boarded the flight that morning, quiet, poised, her designer tote snug on her shoulder, she found a white man already reclined in her first-class seat. 1A, her seat. The one she had booked weeks ago for her cross-country investor tour. The man didn't budge, didn't look up, didn't even flinch when she calmly said, "Excuse me, I believe that's my seat." He smiled. That kind of smile that stings. "I'm sure you'll be more comfortable back there," he said, gesturing vaguely behind him, toward coach. Angela froze. The flight attendant standing nearby didn't speak, just watched, and then unbelievably said, "Ma'am, maybe you could let him sit here for now. We're trying to close the cabin doors." Stop. Pause. Think. If this made your blood boil, you need to watch this entire story. Because what happened next shut down the entire plane and changed everything. Like, comment, and subscribe if you believe power doesn't always wear a suit or look how you expect it to. Now, back to the story. Angela didn't yell. She didn't raise her voice. She simply turned, calmly opened her bag, and pulled out her phone. "Is there a problem here?" a second attendant asked, approaching. "Apparently," Angela replied, tapping on her screen. "I'm being asked to give up a seat I paid for because someone else thinks he's entitled to it." A few nearby passengers had started paying attention, phones angled, one or two recording. The man in 1A shifted in his seat, but didn't speak. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the attendant said, her voice now tight with tension. "We're asking for your cooperation." Angela didn't flinch. "And I'm requesting mine." She turned to the man. "Sir, I suggest you move. This isn't a favor I'm granting. This is a contract you're violating." "Lady," he muttered, still lounging, "it's a seat." "No," Angela replied, her eyes locking onto his. "It's a principle." She didn't move. Instead, she typed a short message and hit send. 3 minutes later, a quiet voice buzzed through the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. We've been instructed to hold departure. Please remain in your seats." The cabin froze. The man looked around. "What's happening?" he barked. Angela remained still. A smirk ghosted her lips, but she said nothing. The lead attendant returned, now visibly shaken. "Ma'am, there seems to be a request from corporate. Are you Ms. Johnson?" Angela gave a gracious nod. "Yes, Angela Johnson, CEO of Virulix Holdings, your airline's largest investor as of last quarter." Silence crashed over the cabin like thunder. The man in her seat turned pale. He sat up quickly. I didn't know that," Angela said, standing tall. "Is the problem." She turned toward the flight attendants. "I'll wait while he moves." With trembling hands, the man grabbed his bag and stumbled toward the back. Passengers didn't cheer, but they stared. They knew. The cameras still rolled. Angela took her seat. Moments later, a new announcement. "This flight will return to the gate momentarily for a staffing adjustment. We appreciate your patience." A staffing adjustment. Translation? The entire crew was being swapped out. Angela stared ahead, her expression unreadable, as murmurs rose around her. She didn't gloat, didn't celebrate, because for her, this wasn't about revenge. It was about visibility. About what happens when you assume someone doesn't belong, because of their skin or their silence. As the plane returned to the gate, Angela leaned her head back. In her mind, she was 16 again, working nights at a grocery store in Baltimore, watching suits walk by with noses in the air. They never saw her then, but they'd see her now. Later that evening, at a quiet restaurant in Manhattan, Angela recounted the ordeal to her niece, Maya. Maya was 22, brilliant, fiery, a law student in her final year, and angry. "You should have sued the hell out of them," Maya snapped, her curls bouncing as she spoke. "They humiliated you." Angela sipped her tea. "And what would that teach them?" "That they can't keep getting away with this," Maya replied, slamming her hand on the table. Angela smiled gently. Sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. Maya stared, trying to understand. "So you just let it go?" Oh, no, Angela said, her eyes twinkling. I never let things go. I just move them quietly. She slid her phone across the table. Maya glanced at the screen. An email from the airline's board of directors. Subject: immediate termination. CC Angela Johnson. Maya's mouth parted. You had them fired? No, Angela said. I gave them the option. Fix it or I do sue. Maya looked down, then smiled. You're a legend. Angela reached over and held her niece's hand. No, baby. I'm a seed. You're the tree. Maya blinked, confused. Angela just winked. You'll understand soon enough. Maya didn't sleep that night. She lay awake in her Harlem apartment. City lights sneaking past the blinds, replaying every second of that dinner conversation. The image of her aunt, graceful, unshaken, yet so dangerous in silence, haunted her like gospel. Maya had spent her law school years preparing to fight the system with fire. But Angela Johnson had just burned down an entire injustice with a whisper. She wanted to be like that. But just 3 weeks later, the world tested her resolve. It happened in a courtroom in Lower Manhattan, where Maya was clerking under a prestigious civil rights attorney. That morning, they were defending a young black mother whose son had been wrongfully detained and brutalized by an off-duty officer. Maya had prepared every line of the argument. She knew the facts better than anyone in the room. But when they entered the courtroom, something was off. The opposing counsel, a smug, silver-haired man named Whitaker, kept eyeing Maya like she was out of place. During pretrial recess, he approached her at the hallway water cooler. You with the client? He asked casually. No, I'm part of the legal team, Maya said, straightening her blazer. He chuckled, condescending. Didn't realize interns were allowed to dress like partners now. Maya held his gaze. Didn't realize dinosaurs were still practicing law. His smirk faded, but inside Maya's stomach twisted. Her aunt's voice echoed in her mind. Sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. Maya wasn't silent. She was shaking with fire. Back inside the courtroom, things only got worse. When her supervising attorney, Ms. Klein, was called out for an emergency call, the judge looked around and said, Well, since she's out, I guess we'll pause proceedings until actual counsel returns. Maya stood. Your Honor, with all due respect, I've drafted every line of our case argument. I'm certified under Rule 9 and authorized to speak today. The judge squinted at her. And you are? Maya Johnson, law clerk, NYU, certified under supervised practice statute. The judge sighed. Fine, but keep it short. Maya took a deep breath and began. She walked the court through police body cam footage, time-stamped inconsistencies, and medical reports of the boy's injuries. She cited 2 Supreme Court precedents and pointed out the contradictions in the officer's sworn statement. By the time she finished, the courtroom was still. Even the opposing counsel had stopped fiddling with his pen. The judge cleared his throat. Ms. Johnson, you speak as if you've done this before. Maya gave a tight smile. Because I've lived it before. The judge blinked. Excuse me. She stepped forward. I've lived it. Watched my cousin slam to the pavement for being black in a white hoodie. I've held the hand of a client bleeding in a precinct bathroom because help came late. I've seen how quick the world is to silence us. That's why I don't wait for permission. The judge didn't reply. He simply nodded. Proceedings will resume, he finally said. And let the record show, Ms. Johnson argued with authority. That night, Maya called her aunt. Angela answered on the second ring. I did it, Maya whispered. Angela smiled through the phone. I know. I watched the live stream. You watched? Angela chuckled. Baby, you shook the room. Maya exhaled, tears burning behind her eyes. I was scared, but I remember what you said. No, Angela said softly. You remembered who you are. 2 months passed. Maya graduated top of her class, passed the bar, started taking pro bono cases in underserved communities. She turned down offers from polished firms with glass towers and instead opened a modest legal clinic 2 blocks from her childhood school. And one cloudy Thursday, Justice walked through her door in the form of a case that would shake the city. A Muslim black woman, Soraya Ahmed, had been denied service at a luxury clothing store. She had the money, the card, the reservation. What she didn't have, apparently, was the look. The clerk told her, "We don't sell to people like you." And when she protested, security was called. She was escorted out in front of her 8-year-old daughter. Maya took the case before Soraya even finished her tea. 2 weeks later, during the press conference outside the courthouse, a reporter raised his mic toward Maya. "You're young. This case is high profile. You're not intimidated." Maya smiled. "My aunt taught me that power doesn't ask for permission." Then she turned to Soraya. "And justice doesn't come dressed in suits. It comes with scars and courage." That night, Angela sat in her office, overlooking the skyline. She replayed her niece's interview over and over, a smile tugging at her lips. The girl was fire, but it wasn't wild. It was refined, purposeful, focused. Angela whispered to herself, "She is the tree." Weeks later, the court ruled in Soraya's favor. The luxury brand issued a public apology, a $5 million settlement, and launched a diversity campaign. But Maya declined the personal payout they offered her for professional goodwill. "I don't want your hush money," she said, voice firm. "I want systemic change." And she got it. Hiring policies changed. Security protocols reviewed. Leadership training implemented. And quietly, Angela Johnson made a significant investment in the brand stock, then pushed to bring Maya onto the Diversity Oversight Board. Full circle. From a hijacked seat on a plane to changing boardrooms. They tried to move her to the back. Now her name sits at the front of legal history. What if Maya had stayed silent? What if Angela had backed down? How many small moments do we let slide when they were really doorways of change? Like this video if you believe that real power often comes in quiet packages. Comment below. Have you ever been underestimated? How did you rise? Subscribe for more emotionally gripping, true-to-life stories that honor strength, challenge injustice, and remind you, you belong exactly where you are.